So here is the NC750X. I've been riding this pretty much all week, and it's surprisingly good. You know, I keep going back to this. As you guys know, this is my fourth NC. I've had two NC700s, two NC750s, and two DCTs, two manual. I have to say that this bike is brilliant in the DCT version. It's so fluid, smooth, it does everything. It shifts better than the rider. You know, you just twist and go like a scooter, but it just takes off much better. This essentially is the Prius of motorcycles. Perhaps not a Prius, maybe like a Toyota Echo or a Toyota Yaris. It's the most drifty bike for the frugal rider anywhere. This thing gets a whopping 70, 80 miles to the gallon, 67 if you're being bad. And everything this bike, you know, when bikes and cars are now being made to be extremely difficult to service, this thing is easy to service. You know, everything about it is simple, nothing complex about this. It's got a chain drive. The engine, of course, it's a very forward, it's got an angle that the head is like really straight forward. I mean, it hits like that front wheel. It's directly behind that front wheel, if you can tell. That is what creates that really good gas mileage. People say that this is kind of like a half a Honda Fit, but I believe that the engineers just kind of use the architecture from the Honda Fit. So it's got like a long stroke and bore, making this thing very low revving. It makes all the power like right down low, where you need it for city riding. This, of course, was made with commuters in mind, and I'm doing delivery on it, which makes it a pretty darn good bike. You know, it's got a low seat height, it's not too high. It's got conventional forks, so there's no adjustability. The one thing that I don't like about it is the suspension is overly harsh, and there is no adjustability in front and rear, so you're kind of stuck unless you change the oil on it. Also, another con of this is that it's got 17-inch front and rear, and because it is an ADV bike, I wish that it had a 19-inch front wheel. And also, as a bike that's about convenience and a new concept, NC stands for new concept, keyless ignition would have been nice. That's one of the things that I would really like on this. Keyless ignition, 19-inch front wheel, and of course, the chain drive. Look, the chain drive is the most efficient way of getting power to the ground. But, you know, one of the inspirations for this bike was the BMW F650 CS Scarver. That had a belt drive. I wish that Honda just went a step further and put a belt drive or shaft drive and then coupled it with a 19-inch front wheel. That would have been a much better package. But it doesn't just stop there. It does have the new concept. Really, the new concept of this bike is the up frunk. So you twist it one way, it opens up, and you have a very large trunk. And that is nice because if you're a commuter, you do not have to rely on a top case. You can just rely on that. So you still have a very thin bike to move around traffic. And of course, the battery's right there, so you can hook up all your electronics very easily. And I kind of appreciate that. You know, I also put some risers on this just to make it a little bit more comfortable. But yeah, simple bike, and people have forgotten how simple bikes used to be. Nowadays, they're becoming more complex, so this is a good bike to keep around for a very long time. Anyway, that's the NC750. Hit like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.